And yeah.
Well, let me just read this because we're trying to, I think the people showed up. So this is from a Zen master from China. I think he was around the 1200s, supposedly. Huang Po. And if you're inclined to like to read stuff, I'd recommend him. Yeah. So it says, when people hear the mind teaching, they get excited. They think there is something to be got. They then fervently engage in this or that practice, thinking that they will get something. Unfortunately, they do not see that their own mind and the thing they expect to find are one and the same thing. This is really, this is a condition, knowing it or not knowing it. We're trying to point this out. Yeah, this is to me a very fundamental aspect of the invitation of non-duality. Is that there's an activity that at the base of the activity we're using mind to seek mind. We're using the Buddha to seek the Buddha. We're using light to seek light. Yeah. Now, obviously, the head doesn't think so, because the head assumes that you're Paul, and if Paul could find any light, yeah, he should use light to seek light, yeah? And it doesn't, you can sit until you're blue in the face speaking about it. It just has to collapse every once in a while, yeah? That's why repetition is helpful. You're not, there's not a new edition of non-duality for 2021, yeah? And basically, you're attempting to trigger seeing it in a certain way, because this way will run through a lot of the statements you'll run into, yeah, from past masters about non-duality. This is the basic fundamental conundrum, is we're using what we want to find what we want to find, yeah? Now, if that isn't true for you, then don't worry, this won't be that long of an arduous day. We'll be here, and then maybe down the road, this thing will finally click. And then you'll see from what you are, yeah? Not look from what you're not. Yes? You'll see from what you are. And then this will land on that porch, yeah? What you are's porch this lands on. It's not meant to land on what you're not's porch. It's meant to go through, yeah, the house to get to us, yeah? Because in this view, what we're calling us is the obscuring factor, yeah? So how can what's agitating the soup calm it down, yeah? So if you're the ladle that's agitating the soup, how are you going to use the ladle to calm it down, yeah? The more you stick it in the soup, the more agitation's going to occur, yeah? This is the fundamental reckoning where you're left with your own devices that you assumed were an aspect of us, of you, and then you realize they're not yours. And then you realize you're not that which is using the Buddha to seek the Buddha, yeah? You're the Buddha that sought. After you fulfill thousands of requirements that are attributed to what you're not, but the recognition in an immediacy, because it doesn't take any time to be what you are, yeah? It isn't like you don't get an understanding and then you arrive at, I'm being what I am finally. No, there's always been being, yeah? It's a never-ending, doesn't begin, doesn't end possibility, yeah? Like in my sense, concerning it through the lens of recovery, I saw the higher power as being always available at all times. I think they're here. Right where we are, with no requirement necessary other than the ones I'm holding, yeah? And if I'm not the one that's holding the requirements don't have any effect over me, yeah? the requirements of the one have an effect on the one that we're not. Yes? If I see there, I don't have to get rid of requirements. I get rid of I don't even get rid of the one. I see there isn't anyone who has the requirements. Yeah? This isn't about changing, like the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's not about that. It's by recognizing you're not on the Titanic. Yeah? Hallelujah. Really. Yeah. Well, I want to know where I am. Well, that's that little itch that mental state continues to have. Yeah? It wants to know, why doesn't it stabilize? Why doesn't what I'm not stop appearing? Because it's talking right now as you. It's asking why it's not disappearing, because you're hell-bent on believing its appearance. That's why. You can't have the two imaginary apparitions at the same time, so to speak. Yeah? If you hear everything you hear from all your friends, the party's great, but when you arrive, it sucks. Yeah? That's very fucking frustrating, because you want to be there to get it. Yeah? The mental states, it's one of its huge drives. It wants to experience its own absence. Yeah? It wants to, now that it realizes most shit has failed, it wants to acquire some non-self qualities to strengthen the idea of being a better self. Yeah? That's why they all fail. That's the only way they can serve you. If they succeeded, the obscuring would be reinforced. Yeah? It would go on and on and on, and then there would be like belts of non-duality. There'd be the white belt, the red belt, the black belt, the super transparent belt, which would be the highest form of clarity. Yeah? But because it has nothing to do with anything like that, it doesn't reinforce that promoting of Paul becoming a non-Paul. It just constantly questions the two-ness that the idea of Paul represents. And that's what non-duality is negating. It's saying not to. It's not saying there's no seeing. It's saying there's no seer or seen. Yeah? It's not saying there's no hearing. It's saying there's no hearer and heard. Yeah? That it's not saying anything. It's just negating, yes, what's derived by a mental looking from the experience of seeing. Or let's say the recognition of seeing. It's not an experience. That recognition of seeing triggers the mental state to immediately arrive at there's a seer and seen. And that's what non-duality is not negating seeing, it's negating the seer and the seen. Yeah? Yeah? Now, it's not like if you don't see it, you should get punished. It has nothing to do with that. It's an invitation that can be given at thousands of different times, but when it truly lands, it's always here and now. In other words, you didn't miss anything, you didn't blow it, it should have happened earlier. None of that has any meaning whatsoever. Yeah? So when you arrive at it on having never left, you see? That's the feeling. Yes, the story is the only way the head can tell a story here is that you're here and you're going to go from here to somewhere else. Yeah. It can't. So it's when it entertains the idea of here, it puts a going to, I'm going to arrive at the moment. No, you never left the moment. We got a wild dog coming in. Yeah. All right, take the dog out. So for some reason, when we have the satsang out in the garage, all the dogs of the neighborhood show up. They sense something. Yeah. They get it so much faster than all of us. Oh, here they come.
There's only one driver.
Oh, did you bring the watchtower?
The two became one.
Oh, the two has become one. All right, good. All right, so so it's just a negating of two. So don't you? All right, let's just start with seeing. Yeah, just the perceptual experience. They're seeing. Yeah. Before we get into who's the seer and what's being seen, they're seeing. I mean, you don't, like when you wake up in the morning, you didn't sort of wake up at 6 and then decide you're going to see, and then the seeing has to especially as you get older, the engine doesn't catch so quickly, so it takes about an hour and a half, then you open your eyelids and you see. Yeah, no, they're seeing. Yeah, they're seeing before the eyelids open. Don't you feel it? Yeah, so they're seeing, so the seeing is going on, and then the mental state arises, yeah, in time, obviously, because nothing arises without time. Out of time, there's nothing arising. nor is there anything departing, yeah? It's in time. So the mental state in time arises and reacts to seeing. And how it reacts to seeing is it makes up a story about it, and it says the seeing implies a seer, yeah? And the seen. Now the seen changes a lot, but the seer is always reinforced, yeah? This is the bondage of self, yeah? It needs the seen, but the seen isn't really the bondage. The bondage is to the seer, yeah? Because the seer is the one who saw everything all day. That's a whole lot of claiming, really. So if you stretch something out into time, 24 hours, let's say 60 minutes times 24 every second, there's a whole lot of seeing going on when it's parsed in time, yes? So each little particular parsing of seeing in this event is being used to imply the seer, yes? It's the same formulation with hearing, yeah? Tasting, touching, doing, thinking, yeah? First there's an action, and then it's claimed to imply there's an actor and the thing that they did, yes? Now, the actor can do tons of different things, but it's always seen as the one actor. And this goes to such incredible length, and in a way, within the system, it's impervious to any recognition of clarity, yeah? I've had that experience with being a real addict, yeah, where I had a feeling of being driven, almost like I was used for transportation, to do a lot of shit that I would never have come up with myself. I mean, day in and day out. It wasn't like one moment in 3 months. It was every day, yeah? I'd wake up with this seemingly an urge to change how I was feeling before I even felt anything, really. It was just an urge to change how I was feeling, and there I went. Yeah? Now, to this day, in the mental state, it still believes it was the doer of all those actions. Every one of them. Every motherfucking one of them. And it's not like the past isn't influential now. The past is hugely influential now because we are the now of what's happening, entertaining what's not happening. So now some people who lived an incredibly crazy life, they're walking around with saddlebags of guilt and shame every day. Yeah? So whatever new relationship they enter it with this shit. Everything. Because they can't see that they weren't the doer. Yeah? Because no matter how much shit you're going to go through as the doer, it's more important to the system not to have that questioned. Seriously. Yeah. And I remember when I used to go to satsangs, and when I was even doing earlier ones, the room would always get very uncomfortable when you brought up doership. Yeah, because it's really because the system is relying on the body as being the poster boy of the whole system. And obviously the doing is, first of all, seeing is pretty powerful, but doing really is like a tattoo. Yeah. It wasn't Stanley robbing the bank. You're on the surveillance camera. I robbed the bank. I did it. Yes. So it seems to have like an ink tattoo. And if you're believing you're the doer, you're never going to get out of the sense of being the doer. You just have to see you're not that sense of being the doer. Yeah? I noticed it. There's no way a doer is going to get out by doing the feeling of being the doer. It may take a drug that it's forgotten for a few hours, but guess what happens? As soon as the phenomena of experience shifts, the system reboots immediately. You can't kill the system because it's in and of us in a weird way. Yeah. If we're there, it's possibly going on. So, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, smelling, doing, not doing, yeah, all of this. That's what's happening here, yeah? Tons of stuff. The mental state comes up because of what? Well, consciousness in a sense, yeah? So it comes up, it becomes aware of something, not through its own light, but by the light itself, yeah? Because it has some sentience, so it's sort of like a spider can feel you from like 10 feet. Some animals, you're right on them, they have no idea. You know, some people, they have more of a, yeah? So the mental state gets triggered, claims it immediately, yeah? Puts on the two poles, seer, seen, yeah? And what gets missed now is the seeing, yes? Because the emphasis goes on to the seer and the seen all day. Yeah? The seeing becomes super unattractive. The seer is incredibly attractive because that's where the bondage and the addiction is. The seeing, some can be attractive, some can be repulsive. Some provokes a desire and some provokes aversion. Yes? Yeah. So, but the whole system is reinforcing the ER. It's replacing the ing with ER. So seeing, though there would be never a seer without seeing, it seems like it doesn't even matter. The seer is the dominant fixation, yes? If you were fixated on the seeing, a lot of these mental shenanigans wouldn't land. You'd be seeing, like it says in the Course in Miracles, vision would make this all mute, yeah? There would be, because you would be seeing, yeah? You'd be super clear of seeing, and then you would see the duality of seer seen, yeah? That's what we're hoping, yeah? So the stuff that non-duality is based on isn't like the all-eternal one and how to purify yourself sufficiently to maybe after lifetimes get introduced to that all-perfect one, probably for not long, and then you'll probably get kicked out because you'll do something stupid. Yeah? No, it's basically just saying not two. It doesn't care about one. Yeah? It doesn't. It says, why? Because the two is more dominant than the quote-unquote one. Yeah? So really, what duality is doing is going not one all day, and we're going to try to turn it around and go not two and see which one fits better. All right, I've lived under the premise not one for many, many years. It drove me fucking to drink and do tons of other shit to get out of that one. has the two, yeah. So we're just going to go turn it around, not two, yeah. See which one works better for you, yeah. Does a story of life from not one, meaning the reality is, yes, there's me and you. Yes, there's an action and I'm the doer of it. Yes, there's thoughts and somehow I have a lot to do with the thoughts. I can't believe I had these feelings as if I chose, all this stuff. Or we see the two from what we are and we exclaim not to, yeah? So what happens? I don't know, find out, but how I feel, the emphasis goes back on the ing, yeah, and it sort of loses interest in the er, yeah. So, and there's no adding the ing. The er was just pasted over it. Yeah, you just see it didn't take any of the ing away. You see right through it. So the ER is still there, but what it spells to you is ING. So now not two, yeah. So does that? What's left? What's left? That which never left, yeah. That's what's left, yeah. Then your lifelong journey is totally neutered by the recognition on having never left. And what flips out is the mental investment in the story of Paul arriving at wherever that, Shangri-La or fucking Nirvana or everything, yeah? The mental state has a large investment, not in Nirvana, but the journey to Nirvana. It can play the tune of Paul all along the way. So, yeah, let's pledge allegiance to be in the camp of not two, and don't renew our subscription to not one. It hasn't worked, has it? Really? There's not many other options, honey. You either see it as not one or not two. It doesn't go to not 15. It's just simple. Not two, not one. Most of us grew into not one. And then now we've heard it from, let's say, the great thesis, Faith Mind, or every Huang Po saying not two. Yeah. See if it fits. It seems to work a lot better for me. Yeah. So I don't want to separate the squares into a not one camp and a not two camp. Yeah. But I will. And then the not ones, the not twos will be wearing a certain, who are you? Not two, not one. So, and then you say neither. Yeah, yes. But let's not go there. Because there's nowhere to go there. Neither is it, but let's go not one, not two. Yeah? So open it up, Mike. Eh?
Okay. Anybody want to raise their hand?
So instead of here's Johnny, it's just here. Here's Johnny is the proclamation of the not one crowd. The same view is here. Thus spoken Jack.
John Luna is here.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, who's it?
It's John from New York.
Oh, John, nice to see you. I have to find you on the square.
I don't know if I'm in the not two squares or the not one, but
Oh, it's Mr. Luna, John Luna. Well, there's an in-between space, yeah. So.
it's a good in-between space. I just did two things. One, reading one of the chapters in the new book, I found it kind of hit me. I thought maybe you could expound on it a little bit. When you were talking to Ramesh, and he says, what do you do? And he says, do you have a place to live, a home? And then he says, when you go to work, do you have to keep remembering that you have a home? And then it says, no, I'm not chanting, I have a home, I now have a home. There's a knowledge that you have a home. The point being that the personal presence, that's important right there, doesn't have to keep remembering the impersonal presence, because that would be reinforcing the reality of the personal presence.
Exactly. It's the same conundrum they all touch upon. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. I have a certain thing, maybe you could clarify on that, but also when you were talking just now, I thought of when the taking this stance as not to, I find for me feels a little bit more like not this. And I don't know if that's the same thing. Can you answer that?
I'm just joking around. I'm just joking with the not to and whatever.
No, but what I mean is I see there's a seeing, and the seeing is saying not that, not the, you know what I mean? Like
it's a negation. Yeah. Yes.
It's a negation. So that's not duality.
What?
That's not taking a position of duality.
The not to?
By saying not, I'm not that. You know what I mean? The thoughts come and you just see.
Well, you're not saying it, hopefully. That's the whole point.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't matter what you say. It matters if there's a feeling that it's you that's saying it. Yeah.
Right. One's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second thing, so this idea that you don't have to keep remembering the impersonal presence from the personal presence, that's something I've noticed. It's almost like the understanding comes through, but then the personal presence, the doership, it tries to hold it tight.
Exactly. That's what it's always said in so many ways. That came from a video that someone sent me of a satsang in Bombay of Ramesh that I was there at. I was sitting in the chair. See, Ramesh was bored with sharing, I think. So what they would do is they'd meet everyone who was coming to the meeting downstairs, and they'd ask, is anybody new? Because you got to sit in a chair, because that will inspire Ramesh, because he may have been seeing that these people have been coming for months. They should fucking move on, maybe. Yeah. Right. So I was a new person that day. So they put me in the hot seat. So he was asking me a question like, what do I do? And da 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 da. And I ended up saying, I'm a house painter. And he says, all right. And then we went off on that run about, do you have a home? And do you need to keep saying that all day? No. Yes, I have a home. That's clear to me. And exactly. And so then he brought it. Then why would you want to remember what you are all day as what you're not? It's reinforcing what you're not. Yeah. And it's not necessary. See, the head believes it's forgotten something, and the only way that can be eradicated is by remembering it. No, there's been no forgetting or remembering. Yeah, that's the freedom.
It's just the seeing that.
Let's say forgetting. Let's say your head is in the act of forgetting. Yeah. It's the same head that will be in the act of remembering. They're both bondages of self.
Right.
Yeah. You may be remembering something, but how can you remember what's already here right now? You can only remember it conceptually. Yeah.
We're before that. Right?
Yes, we're before that.
Yeah.
That's why you can see it. You can see pretty much the playbook of the mental state, because you're not of the mental state. Yeah. Right. It only runs a certain amount of plays every day. It's the same game basically over and over again. It just, what it does is it runs the whole game by being the broadcaster. It doesn't give a shit what's going on. It has its own agenda, and it's always telling you you're losing, probably. And so there's great faith in the broadcaster, to the point where you don't even feel the hits or catching the passes or shit. He's just saying, you're losing, you're down by 40 in the fourth quarter. You might as well fuck it and get loaded, or eat that whole gallon of ice cream or something. Doesn't matter. But all that comes into a fruition by faith, you know? Yeah, there's faith. Faith is a force. I don't care what people say. I don't believe there's something called a faith, but faith is a force of mind. And faith has a lot to do, obviously, with dreaming, because the only way the dreaming seems as real as it does is because there's faith in it. There's really faith in it. There's faith in the dream. And so that which is an effect of faith can't direct the faith, yeah? So there's got to be some kind of shift, but you can't be the producer of the shift, yeah? So that's the conundrum. People get the urge to have a shift, but then they try to produce it or coerce it by their behavior as what they're not. That's why non-duality tries to clear this fundamental flaw, F-L-A-W, of the system, yeah? By saying, wait a minute, if you set out on a course to lose interest in self, as self, that's more interest in self.
Become obsessed with it almost, you know, you.
Yes, and that's the point. Hopefully it's shown you enough, John, that which you've been relying on to be, let's say, the tip of the spear in this search for the all absolute truth is a poison unto itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's taking its own poison, so to speak. Yeah. So that way you put the fucking shit down. You realize you're not the one who's holding the shit. And then see if things get clearer and you travel lighter. And if you do, like what's his name said, I think it was a long time ago, they would ask you about qualifications of a teacher, and Ramana would say, well, if you feel a lot better being around the person, that's a pretty good sign. You know what I mean? So if what the person is saying is taken to heart and it seems to allow you to give yourself a permission you never needed to ask for, far out, you're onto something. Yeah, just follow it. Have faith in that. You don't need to have faith in that with something you have faith in. Yeah? You have faith in that. You don't use that which you're having faith in to have faith in that. That will be more faith in that, the intellect shit. Yeah?
Right.
So there's something is, like we say in recovery, trusting the process. You just, and that means I don't try to figure out much. Yeah? I just,
Right.
I don't care if I'm riding a wave at the beach. I don't care if it came from, South America or the fucking Greenland. Yeah.
Right.
The ride of the wave is the point. Yeah.
You're not doing a mineral analysis of the water or anything.
No, I'm not. Yeah. It doesn't take, I don't go in with a thermometer to find out if it's cold. I know it's cold when I jump in.
Right.
So yeah.
No, I don't have any questions. Yeah.
That's good. That's good, bro. Just keep coming back, John, or don't, whenever. But know that you're in good hands now.
Yeah.
And that this space that holds us isn't demanding anything. It's you that's the demander. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question, Paul. It sounds like whoever came up with AA, I think his name is Wilson. Was it Wilson?
Yes.
He must have had some kind of.
Well, it came through him. He didn't come up with it.
Right. But there was some that was. It's very similar to non-duality in a way.
It is. He got whacked, and my view, there's a couple of books in recovery, but the one book, the big book, is like a download to me. It's got a it's got a lot of juice in it. And then when you read some other books, there's a lot of information, but it doesn't have the same juice. The big book of AA was a drop of grace in this place, really.
Yeah.
It was. Right. Yeah, because before that, I remember I do a talk at a church, and they have a big podium with a huge Bible on it. So one night we were there, and I read, and it was on Psalms, a psalm. And in that psalm, which is from the Old Testament, right, they were bitching about winos. They didn't know what to do with them back then. Yeah. Right. It was amazing of this dilemma seemingly for so long. And then suddenly in 1935, something happens to a couple of alcoholics that lead to the publishing of this big book, this book of recovery. And now people who seemingly were in a hopeless state of mind and body have found a way out. It's awesome. Yeah. 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 Nice. And I feel that's coming from source, so to speak. Yeah. And I still feel that energy in recovery. I do.
The people that go to the meetings, a lot of them don't have any idea about non-duality, but yet they're still kind of soaked. It still kind of must be getting soaked up somehow, you know? Like
yeah, of course. Maybe, well, because they've got the end. The not one life hasn't worked. Right. So yeah, they're and all over the book, they call what I call selfing, and what selfing is used to imply, they call that self, what's implied. Yeah? They don't tell you the mechanism of why that's implied. They start there. So I don't think they saw the whole picture, but they saw it. And then in the big book, the word self is used tons of times as being convinced that self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. Any life run on self-will, self, yeah, as the root of the problem. And obsessiveness with this imaginary idea, which is in its dualistic nature, your obsession with that is an active denial of the other. So your obsession with two is a denial of one. So, right. Yeah, and people don't really feel that because they just believe it's an honest perception that there's me and you and this or that, and this is a real place, and it's a binary thing. Yeah, they don't realize that faith in the two is an act of denial of what else is possible. Right. Yeah. So that's why they don't waste any time. They just go right to the dilemma because you are the Buddha. Right. Yeah. And the message is to the Buddha, not to Paul. And the message is, hey, Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself, basically. Yeah? Now, if there's no belief in that, why would you try to crack your head open on that rock? But just let it, if you've run into non-duality in this world, it's probably going to become useful in your life sooner or later. Yeah? You're going to recognize after looking for what you are for 30 years, that it didn't fail because you didn't do enough, or you should have kissed the master's foot longer, or donated more money, which would help here. But all this stuff, yeah, you've realized, wait a minute, I think I've lost them. You've realized you can't get out of what you're not in. Yeah, beautiful. And then when you're on that trail, the trail ends immediately. And hopefully it's a being convinced, and then there's a moving on. Just like, this action figure has been convinced that it can't get into the moment because it was never out of a moment. So basically, it's constantly in the goal of being in the moment without arriving in the moment. I just realized I can't be out of a moment. So I don't get gypped, yeah, because I think there's so many insane ideas. See, we have a statement in recovery, an acronym for fear. It says false evidence appearing real, yeah? Now, how would that keep going? Well, if false evidence, it's going to appear real to false evidence. Yeah. So if where I'm starting from is a false evidence of the reality of two-ness, yeah, then I'm going to gobble up a lot of other false evidence. Yeah. Obviously, because I am of false evidence. I don't have any ability. I can't see the difference between truth and false. Yeah. On a basic level, because I'm identified as with a false premise, yeah,
Right.
that lends itself to how I see things, yeah,
Completely. It's
yeah.
just-
So we're just saying, even though it seemed to have had 40 or 50 years of effect, it's not a real cause. It's imaginary. It's not true, yeah.
Right.
So, and I found, I was struck sober, and in that moment, I was convinced of a lot of things, but non-duality has convinced me of tons of stuff. Convinced completely. It didn't dye the cloth like 87%. Yeah, it was 100%. Yeah, there is no whatever.
So when you walked away from like that satsang with Ramesh, did you feel you felt no more doubt or?
No. When I walked away that day, Ramesh's, I feel, his main thrust was personal doership.
Yeah, totally.
Some teaching, they stick with one thing, which works
Yeah.
well. So his whole idea was there is no personal doer. So he used to always say a statement attributed to the Buddha, which is, there's events happen, deeds are done, but there's no individual doer thereof. So what he would say is, why don't you go, when you leave here, and then look at an incident during this day and see how much you had to do with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I went to my hotel, and man, it was like when I was a kid, getting me to do my homework was fucking very difficult. It was like that. My head did not want to look at the personal doership. It did not. It wanted just to move off of that and just keep that assumption in place. I mean, seriously, it was like pulling a fucking mule to water. And so that indicated something to me. Wow, now I'm getting into the the source code room of the system, because it was like forbidden, because the whole story of Paul is based on me being the doer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah? And if I want the doer, then whose life would it be anyway?
Right.
Yeah. How could the claiming go on unsuspected if you question the sense of doership? You would immediately, everything would be up in the air, because the whole story here is based that you're the doer, you're the seer, you're the hearer, you're the feeler, you're the taster. That's what's playing all day. That assumption is the elephant in the room. It wants you to look down the road, who's been fucking with you, what's going to happen, but it never wants you to look at the basic fact. My feeling of being alive, it definitely feels like seeing is before the seer.
Yeah.
So how could the seer be doing the seeing if it comes after the seeing? There would have to be either someone else or no one else seeing.
Everything comes after.
Doesn't make sense.
It all comes after. Right.
Yeah. So how can that which comes after the seeing say it's the seer?
Right.
I just don't get it. Honey, someone asking me for it? Yeah. I lost it. Yeah, I think yeah. So there you go, John. We move on. All right.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
Yes, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, John. Simon is up.
Who? Simon?
Hi, that was quick. Hi, Paul. Can you
Hey,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I'm just trying to find you.
I didn't expect. I've just put my hand up. I've been watching your videos probably for about 10 years.
Oh,
And I came back to them recently.
I see
Yeah,
it.
I wasn't gonna. Sorry, go on. Did you want to say something?
No, I can see you now though.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, and then I just thought I had this kind of terror. So I think, okay, what is it like to be without me? Like, what is this kind of experience I have of being me? And then, like, within I don't know how long it is, there's this kind of terror, and it's like a no.
Yeah, that's not of you. That's of the that's from K2.
Yeah,
The
I knew
state
you were gonna.
K2.
But that's easy enough to say, but yeah,
No,
it's
it's
like,
true.
huh?
It's true.
And it's like,
Remember,
and
you've
then
heard the videos. If you heard the video, Simon, remember the snake in the skin?
no,
Oh, the snake in the skin. I'll try to do a quick rendition because this was a way to illuminate this thing of terror and where it's coming from. So let's say there's a snake, yes? And the snake goes through an event every year. It doesn't do it. It doesn't sign up for it. Doesn't make reservations. Its skin's going to fall off and it's going to get new skin. It's going to look better to female snakes. It'll travel lighter over the rocks. It's a win-win for the snake. Yeah? And yet there's a point of view that's coming from the skin's point of view. And the skin's assumption is that it's the snake. That's the assumption. No questioning, no investigating. And so the skin starts feeling this event occur and it gets worried. It's scared shit because it's going to fall off the snake and the snake's going to continue. And basically, it's the mortal threat to the story it's been pounding away at for whatever, yeah? So the skin jacks into the snake's little head and tells the snake to buy a lot of moisturizer, stay out of the noonday sun, watch out for that rock, starts managing, controlling, just to promote its life, the skin's life, yeah? At the expense of the snake's life, yeah? Now, what's happening is the skin at times sounds a lot louder. Its radio station has a larger broadcasting radius than the broadcasting of the K silence, the snake, yeah? So basically, a lot of interested attention hears the snake's point of view, yeah? And that implies that it's you hearing the skin's point of view, all the while being the snake, yeah? So now the skin, aka snake, says, fucking just bathe in moisturizer. And you know, by the way, my cousin sells moisturizer. Whatever. The skin's got a whole story going. Yeah? So
I thought you meant your actual cousin sells moisturizer.
no. So there you are as the snake, not literally one, Simon, or any figuratively either. There you are as the snake, and then the skin appears by the claiming of, I'm terrified. I know it's not, as an experience, it sucks, but if you break it down, it's quite easy to see it, yeah? And if you don't act out and don't do anything stupid, I'm telling you, the megaphone's going to run out of battery, and the snake's always existing as you is going to override the skin's little fucking story. Yeah? That's my experience with it.
And so, like, obviously, all the like trivial things that say, well, you've got no job, you've got no wife, you've got no kids, you're useless.
Well, piling on, those may be facts, but see, it doesn't, it's not going to use those facts to
You
sort
can
of
use
lead
those
to a
as excuses,
solution.
though. I mean,
Hmm?
if you want to remain as a two, those can come in very handy as excuses, can't they? To
Well, you
stick.
can't remain as a two because you aren't. So
Okay.
all I can do is you can keep an appearance up, you know, but page after page is sort of like the page that was before the other page, on and on. But you know, if you can, you're young, so it may be more interesting to some of us who are older.
I'm not even that young.
Yeah, but you know, but if you're having situations in life out there as an action figure, and I use the term action figure to imply something, but in that world of being an action figure, there's value and there's debits, yeah? And the action figure to be working on a certain level may need a sense of well-being, needs shelter, needs food, needs to have a sense of security. So you can't the action figure, those demands can't be subdued by a philosophical idea of non-duality. Yeah? When you see them clearly, they have their own appearance. It's just that they're not taking up the whole screen. Just like these zooms, I see 9 squares. Let's see in this one, I'd see 9 squares, and then there'd be a small little square in one of the 9 squares with the story of Paul going on. Before, it was all the squares. There was just one square of Paul. When that one square of Paul wants to get out of being Paul with non-duality, it usually doesn't work. Yeah. So basically, yeah. Open up to being led to a job and stuff like that. That's what I did with recovery. Recovery, so many people I've watched, and myself included, entering recovery, we had no fucking skills. All I did was deal drugs since I was 15 and not that well. So I had no fucking, because I liked the product too much. They had no skills really and shit like that. And I just bluffed myself into a house painting job. Yeah. And I painted houses, and that led me to starting my own business, and that led me to going to Thailand, and that led me to seeing beautiful Buddhas, and that led me to bringing the Buddhas back to America and selling them to supplement the money that I was making as a house painter so I could travel, and on and on and on and on. That all came from a recognition of my complete failure, and then relying on something other than another person or this person. And then I was led to jobs and tons of shit. And I'll tell you, man, I've just stumbled and bumbled my way through a life. There's no freaking... So, yeah. Good to see you, Simon. Stick with us. If another question comes up and we have a fellowship after the talk, just stay with us, eh? It's nice
Thanks
to see
a lot.
you.
Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Thanks, Simon. And Philip.
Philip?
You're muted, Philip.
Philip? Move Move to another one. Maybe you get it on later.
How's that?
Good.
Is that better?
Got you.
A little, speaketh. Oh,
hi.
Philip, yeah,
Hi,
go
Paul.
ahead. Hey,
Can you hear me?
yep.
Oh, hi. Thanks, Paul. This morning I was thinking, how do you turn up every week, and week after week? I was wondering whether you ever have a day where you think, oh, not today. No non-duality today. I've just had enough. You seem to sort of turn up there.
No, the thing is, I don't come here ever, so that's why I keep showing up.
Okay.
Literally, truly.
Yeah, sure.
If I took Paul's concerns, I would disqualify myself from many, 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 many things completely. Yeah.
I guess that leads on to my question about, I understand that the action figure doesn't get this, it's not a revelation for the action figure, but, and there is traveling lighter, and one of the big things for me.
Oh, excuse me one second, Philip. There are revelations to the action figure.
Okay.
They are. Some revelations are, yes, they're for the action figure, for sure.
Right. Well, I guess, from my perspective, there is definitely this traveling lighter, and one of the big things that's sort of dropped off is anxiety. I had this anxiety, it was so crippling that I could hardly do anything, and that's almost disappeared completely.
Wow, that's awesome.
But there's still the action figure, the mental, what I'm not still.
Hey, Philip, then let's get to this, but let's just back up before the but and just appreciate that you were in, seemingly.
Yeah.
The appearance of Philip was defined quite a lot by what's it called, vague anxiety. Yes, and now it isn't. Let's sit and honor that.
Sure.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh, it's incredible. In fact, the hairs on my arm just go up when I say it, because I never thought it would be possible. But
yeah. Well, to that Philip, it wasn't. See, Philip got diminished a little bit, and now it's possible.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess there is still the desire to have this space a little bit less crowded. The static is turned right up still. What I'm not still takes up so much space, so much. It's kind of like sometimes it's kind of exhausting. I just want it all to just die down a bit.
And remember, that's not you.
Yeah.
Seriously, because if that goes unnoticed, there'll be an implying of you, and then we'll have a 3-hour talk about not wanting something to die down, or wanting something to die down. Then all the emphasis will be on the desire or aversion. Yes, missing the point of what's the axis of the desire and aversion? It's a sense of self. Yeah. Yeah, like this. Yes. Yeah, so let's take this away, and maybe that plank that was the seesaw may be more useful put some other way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even as I say it, I can hear myself saying, feeling like a whinger, when things are actually very good, but there's still this desire, the action figure wants peace and harmony sort of 90% of the time,
I feel up, excuse me, I keep butting in, but as an action figure, why don't you do a gratitude list? It's something we do in recovery.
Right.
When we have this certain, it's not enough or I want more, you can easily stop it, not with any trick of non-duality, just pen and paper. Just write down, I'm grateful for the lifting of this free-floating anxiety that was tinting everything about my life, and maybe look at how can I be of help to other people and get out of that going over the woe is me. Yeah. So because the interest of attention, almost like flies, they want to land on the shit. Yeah. So if you shoo the flies away, you got to move the shit, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so there's this gratitude list thing is very helpful to people. And then just see what you can do, help others, you know, just do something. Maybe one of these days you can help at the website here and lead the meeting. Yeah? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It'll be
sure.
great. No, it'll be great. And people will look forward to it. And then these are ways easy just to pull the attention out of the S of self. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, gratitude list. I like that.
It's a very nice thing. I mean, when I got into recovery, I had a strong sense of entitlement. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, I did this thing for the first 5 years of my sobriety. When anything good happened, I said, "Thank you, God. That's more than enough." I swear to God. The action figure got retrained. It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it needed to. It had nothing to do with non-duality. It had to do with the action figure and what it's like to be in Rome and what I need to render unto Caesar's. And what I needed was a different attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll get a big portion of light and you'll just look at the little bit of the emptiness of the plate and be totally bummed out. Yeah, this is the illness of the perception. Yes, so
you think
those things can be changed.
the action figure does sort of fall into line. It does sort of get out of the way. It does sort of comply to some degree. Like it seems like the action figure is still a little bit a remnant of kind of trying to push through and take up.
Yeah, yeah. Realize basically, you know, what was really good for me was a living definition of enough. Yeah, enough. Though I can't apply it to certain things like leather bags and shit. I'm a hoarder, but on a lot of levels, the action figure travels in enough. Yeah, it's very, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's something. Yeah.
yeah. So, and if the self thing is greeted by the self, it doesn't work out well. You want to have acceptance in that atmosphere. Yeah, that comes from what we are. And then the greatest changer of what we're not is acceptance of it, really. So start there and then see where to go. Because there's a lot of withholding in this little game of Paul and Paul, yeah? And a lack of permission and having to sort of earn what was already freely given, so to speak.
Yeah.
All this unbelievable fucking we talk about bureaucracy, but the bureaucracy of self is unfucking believable. It always is on. You're on the phone with it for hours, and when it finally gives its solutions, they don't even sound like solutions. You're like, what? Yeah. So you need a mediator in that. There can't be me and me, but the recognition of not me just brings an acceptance into the mix. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
And then and things grow out of that gratitude and just appreciation and more than enough and a lot of attitudes I didn't have or run into much when I was younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah, Phil, I hope that helped, you know.
Thanks very much, Phil. Anybody else? wanna
Thank you,
raise their
thank
hand?
you.
Tarek.
Eric.
Hi, Paul. Can you hear me?
Oh, Tarek from Dover. Nice to see you, Tarek.
Hi, nice to see you. So I don't really have a question. It's just I wanted to share something. What you were talking about like the doership and that feeling of being the doer of everything, and kind of like poking on that, and like how it unravels a lot of this the story is kind of coming up for me a lot these days. And just like you said something a few weeks ago about like we're always waiting for something like really big, but like it's actually in the mundane stuff, like the day-to-day stuff, that like everything's like here to see, you know, in our little labs, like you say. So I've been, that kind of really stuck with me, and I've been like really just like watching, like just like with fresh eyes a bit, like what's really going on here, you know what I mean? Like trying to like just drop all these like concepts I've picked up during this like spiritual journey or whatever, you know. And just little things have been like coming up, like just, you know, like when you're doing stuff around the house or something, and just like chores, and at some point like there's no thoughts or anything, and like you're kind of like zone out, and like the actions are just happening. And then this person like Tarek comes back in, and he doesn't even remember like if I did something or not, and like there's this like, oh, like did I do this or not? And then like I thought I didn't do it, and then I went to see, and then I realized I did do it. So I don't know, like something that seems so insignificant, and like Tarek wanted to just like, oh, like, yeah, that was nothing, you know, but like, I don't know, something was like, no, hang on, this is like huge, because this is like huge evidence that like, I'm really not doing anything here, you know, like I'm just like an afterthought that comes in and like pretends I did stuff, you know. And I don't know, it just like, it really hit me, like, or hit something, you know, and like, yeah, it's, but there's like this, there's a huge like hole in the story when this is like being investigated like constantly, and something always like tries to come back in and like just ignore this stuff, you know, and focus on like, oh, you have like work to do, and like you need to like take care of this and that, and like, come on, you're the doer, you know what I mean? Like if you don't do it, like who's gonna do it, you know? There's all this stuff going on, you know. And but yeah, I don't know, just something so small that like seems so insignificant, like I don't know, it's just like I keep remembering it, and like it really like makes it a lot easier to ignore these like thoughts about like I'm the doer and I have to do this and I have to do that, and something just like relaxes, and that like, oh, I'm not like doing anything, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's just like, it's been like really cool, you know, just to see, I don't know, like the mundane stuff, you know, because like I've always been like, yeah, just waiting for something huge or something, you know.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's a great report from Dover.
Yeah.
No, really. Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, this is sort of, that sort of mimics how the message affected me in a lot of ways, yeah? It showed up that the looking for allows us to miss a lot of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. We're thinking now is only purposeful to look for something else later. Yeah. And there's a noble story of why that's more important than now. But it's like being on a different time moving with more oomph than before, and then that stuff starts slowing up and you start seeing it, or as we say in America, you smell the roses, you know, the roses are there, they're blooming, and yet you're able to entertain it now. Yes? So the way you can start recognize the influence of time when you're not under it, when you're not under the influence, yeah, which is what you're explaining, right, or sharing right now, gives you a real view of time. Yeah, that's how it works. We recognize a lot when we're not at the effects of it. Yeah, it's just the same thing with gravity. The best way to really know gravity is by going into an anti-gravity chamber. Then you'd realize wow, gravity is pretty fucking influential throughout the day. I thought it was the hill or the stairs, but it was really gravity. Yeah. So this is the point. This is exactly how it happens. The relief informs you of what was going on. The relief from it informs you of what was going on. Yeah? Yeah. And you know, a lot of us are looking for the big sentence, but it's like reading between the lines is the real joy. Yes, just traveling lighter, day in and day out. Yeah, it's profoundly ordinary, but the profundity is unbelievable. Really.
Yeah, I think that's what was like most shocking about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my head used to love the, you know, like I remember I saw this master Sai Baba, and I had this book, The Teachings of Huang Po, and I'd bring it while he was walking through the crowd, and I'd have it on my head so he could give it a double whack. It was fun, but the fact is, would I be motivated to walk around with a book on my head? I probably not. I'd probably save the time and the ticket and just be here. I don't know. And I didn't set out for this to occur. I'm just reporting from its effects. Yeah. Entertaining the premise of non-duality just chilled a lot of shit out. Just chilled it out, man. I mean, not only it didn't even turn the engine off, it took the engine out of the spiritual vehicle. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
How's the weather in Dover today?
It's all right.
All right, that's good, Tariq.
Thanks a lot, Tarek. And Lori.
Hello, Paul.
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta fix the hat. There you go.
There we go.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, pretty good, thanks. Yeah. You're looking good, but why am I seeing myself? I want to see you.
I'm seeing all of you. You're huge. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't really.
Maybe we have it reversed. Who knows?
Let's change that.
Did it work?
There
Oh,
we
wow.
go.
But I lost her.
Yeah. Did you lose me? That's all right.
I didn't. I can hear you, so I'm gonna find you.
I don't mind being lost, to be quite honest. Okay, I love Tarek's sharing and everybody sharing, and I
There you
can relate. I'm relating greatly, and I'm just loving sharing in this and hearing everything. I love sailing along. You know, it's like a kite. I feel like I'm a kite most times. I just sail along, and I'm in that place of relief a lot that you're talking about. What's pulling me down, not the me, that the mythical character, the action figure, is, you know, when the skin of the snake is now debating, oh, do I need to take this vaccine? Really? Like, I don't believe either way, you know, taking it or not taking it. I'm just, you know, but I have other beings that are pretty you know, that their snake skin is really like quite invested. Wants that lotion, wants that vaccine. So I'm just wondering, how do you answer to that, Paul? Like, are
I
you
don't go
going
into
to get
the particulars. We try not to have any opinions about the stuff like that at the meeting. Yes, if you wanted my opinion, you can. Mike can give you my information. Get in touch with me. But yeah, it's just sort of sometimes the way it was held for me as an action figure, not this particular thing, but is whichever way it goes, the action figure goes, just be fucking accountable for it. Yeah. Because what I used to always do is, if it didn't go the right way, I'd be bitching and moaning and shit. But now, if the shit hits the fan, it's best, yeah, I'm accountable. Yeah. So if you
Right.
get it,
Right.
you're accountable. If you don't get it, you're accountable. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Precisely.
yeah.
And to me, it's two sides of the same coin.
Well,
You're getting
however it is, yeah. But yeah, I'm a real believer. Like in AA, they found that it would be best not to have opinions on outside situations,
Right.
because the group they came from, I'm going to give you a little recovery history. There was a huge movement in the 1900s in America and Europe somewhere called the Oxford Group. And a lot of the people that started AA recovery came from the Oxford Group. And the Oxford Group disappeared like almost all of a sudden, and they entered politics. And then when they started to have opinions about outside things, their whole movement collapsed. And so AA put it in their traditions and shit not to have any opinions on outside stuff, because it allows the message to stay clear. And the primary purpose of recovery was to help the suffering alcoholic. Yeah. So the primary purpose of this Zoom is to entertain, the idea of non-duality and duality and stuff. Yeah. And nothing right or wrong with opinions about anything, but they'd be best addressed in another venue. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's energy and charge
Yeah.
on stuff. Yeah. It's just sort of like the thing too. I know in my history with sharing, I don't use the word love much, yeah, because I think more of it as an expression, and it has so much meaning to so many people, it can sort of distract from something. So I just stick with the same game plan that's been dictated to me. Yeah.
Well,
So-
I have, on that topic, I have to tell you from your retreat, that's what stood out for me was when you said in non-duality, it's not that you fit love into non-duality, but that it actually becomes unleashed. And
Yes.
that stands out so huge, you have no idea.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
A lot of us, just like some people go by numbers, we go by concepts, yes? Concepts. And so we have concepts of stuff.
That's
And
right.
those concepts, though they may bring a conjuring of something, but they also bring an obscuring of something. Yeah. I'd rather not. Yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's, yeah. I
I
have
got
faith in the message, and it's amazing. And one of the things I learned in recovery's idea of a solution doesn't go from A to B. It goes from A to K back to B. Yeah, you do something, and then something completely foreign to it happens. So you see, there's, that's what I feel. I feel in a way, the not two or the not one is like the first knot of a row of knots. And the row of knots all have their meaning and their troubles and their wins and their releases and their contractions. But if you, let's say, deal with relationship, it may not have any effect on your financial stuff, yes? So each knot has a sense of singularity compared to the other knots, yeah? But at the beginning, there's the first knot, so to speak. And this is the idea of not two or not one, yeah? And from there, a thread goes to all the other knots. When that gets loosened, you'll feel the effects in every aspect of your life, probably, if you have the eyes to see it. Yeah?
Precisely.
Yeah. you're on to something. Now, some people want to specialize on releasing one knot. Fine. But I just like the efficiency of getting to the root of things, getting that stuff, like having the horse in front of the cart, and then see how you see everything else. Maybe it was because the cart was in front of the horse, you saw a lot of problems, and really there weren't many problems. Yeah. So you'll because we're giving everything all the meaning it has. So I would say, well, that's the point of change. Let's say maybe if that can be changed, it can't change, but if it can be changed, maybe that will have a huge effect, and so it has. Yeah. So I see non-duality as light. I see as action figures, we do a lot of things to illuminate or bring light into situations, into our lives. But the light that's brought in is of non-duality. Light. Yeah, yeah. So I feel it's, let's just get clear about what's going on.
Exactly.
Just
Like
one level. Yeah.
no, it's I hear Shakespeare saying to be or not to be. So when you say, not one, not two, not one would be to not be, and not two would be to be. That's how I actually mix it up.
Yes. Well, the not one would be I was, I will be, therefore I am. It arrives at now from past and future.
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's yeah.
Take the engine
All right,
out.
nice to see you, honey. Yes. And I'll tell you, have faith it's all gonna work out.
Oh, I do have faith. That's.
So there you go. So
If I
yeah.
didn't have faith, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, Paul. Let me just put it that way.
All right, great. Nice to see you, honey.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Thank
Yep.
you.
Another one, Mike? Anyone?
Yeah, Ben's here. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, Ben.
Oh, Ben.
Thanks. Hey, Paul. Hearing your message today, it resonates like right away. The seeing without a seer, the hearing without a hearer. That feels right away. Like,
Yeah.
of course, that's how it is. I've been getting stuck, particularly today with a really tough decision that I have to make. And I think in my life in general, there's a lot of mental activity around decisions and a lot of like stress and anxiety, and the deciding without a decider feels like kind of an impossible thing to to imagine. And I'm really curious how decisions can be made in a way that is not like I don't know, if it just is in that flow of life as it is, it isn't adding all this crap onto it. So
Yeah.
anything you could say?
Well,
about
maybe
that?
it will help you because there's never been a decider that's been decided.
Yeah.
So it's not like how you're taking it has changed anything.
Yeah.
Really. So try to make the best decision you can, and then maybe it's best to stay out of the outcome business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the understanding will catch up to the feeling of it. Yeah. Or the feeling will catch up to the understanding of it. Yeah. It's not like the day you realize you're not the doer is the beginning of a new day. No, you've never been a doer. It's not like, oh, you know what? You were a doer a long motherfucking time, but you're not the doer. No, you're not the doer, meaning you never were a doer. There's a whole lot of doing, but you're not the doer. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so and this thing thinks it's a decider, and therefore it's afraid. Like for me, I didn't want to decide because I had no faith in that which was the decider.
Yeah.
So I procrastinate and I'd let other people decide for you. You can see it with men a lot too. The men don't have the balls to leave a relationship, so they let the woman decide by withholding from the woman themselves for months, and then the woman finally make a decision. And usually when a woman makes a decision, there's no turning back. You're out. But the fact is, it was like a weird way of not being the decider. Yes? So it's like,
Yeah.
it comes from how we're reflected in the pool of Ulysses, what's his name? The guy who's totally obsessed with himself. Narcissus, how he sees himself. He can't get off the pot or take a shit. Yeah. Because he doesn't, yes. It could go bad. That would mean I'm really bad. Yes, yeah. This is all obsessing with self. So you're inevitably making a decision by not making one. Yeah. Someone else is going to get the job if I don't make the decision to call them and give them my estimate. Yeah. So a decision is going to be made no matter what. So maybe that will take some of the pressure off.
Yeah. That's helpful. I mean, I'm curious, like, for you, like, how do you make a decision, like, whether or not to get into a new relationship, for instance? Like, I know that happened to you.
That's already been made. I'm in a relationship.
But I know you had, I was thinking, like, how did you make that decision to get in? Because you said you never
I didn't make a decision. Know what I felt? This was very clear. I felt an invitation, and I've had invitations from that same source, and it's worked out really well to go for it, so I was open to it. Truly.
Cool.
I felt a huge yes, a silent one that I've heard before, and I found that it works really well for me and everyone else if I follow it. So
nice. Yeah.
That's
cool.
That's how it happened with me.
Thanks. That helps.
Yeah, there is something about the gut. I'm sure you've had a message come through all the horizontal information and static that sometimes made an impression. You felt like, yeah, this is right. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. And then when you did it, it really played out, and it was like a win-win for everyone concerned. Well, you learn, you learn, hey, a lot of, let's say, advice comes through the tubes, and then this one comes through. Hey, wait a minute. I heard from this one before. I'm going to go with this one. And then the faith builds up, And now maybe I can't trust Paul, but I can trust that. And then I act from there. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, bro. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Back in the forest now.
Yeah, I know. I need it.
You don't have to make that decision. Just follow it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, there you go. More and more can end up that way. Yeah. I don't have many restraints, like things I have to do. And the shit that I have to do, I avoid as long as possible. So I just walk around something, and then I do one thing, and then it leads to another thing, and a lot of the days go like that. I don't have any plan, but the day seems to play out. Yeah. And like, what's his name? Tariq was sharing about it. That's like a lot of the days. Yeah, I'm just, I get into fixing something, and I'm just in a zone, and then that's done. And then I move to something else, and it doesn't, it's all forgotten, and nothing's very momentous. It's just little things. I show it to my girlfriend. She just obligatory says, "Oh wow," but she just, it doesn't matter. I'm the only one that's interested in it, and it's fun. So what? Yeah. So, bro, you're a good dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Ben. Have fun playing. No other hands are up.
Well, let's say goodbye, bro. Hey, it's such a pleasure to come here with all of us. Yeah, Glenda and everyone, Richard, Robert. I've slept in Richard's living room. Yes, in London. He's my handler in London. Yeah, don't you forget that, Richard. He also sends me Zen pornography. He likes to send me books written by drunk Zen monks who are always at the whorehouse with some kind of obscure whatever. he wanted me to share it at one of these meetings, but it probably would have been the end of my career, you know. All right, so there's Mike. Nice to see you, Mike. Hey, Lola, come over here. The dog's going crazy. Oh, here's the dog. Come here, Lola. Here you go. Hey, there she is. This is the monster. The monster. So that's Lola. So let's say Judith. Always a pleasure, Judith.
Likewise, Paul. Thank you. Here's my dog.
Oh, yeah?
This is Jelly.
Oh, yeah. She's going down now, this one. She's so crazy. All right, Chip. Always nice to meet you, Chip. Have we seen each other before? Yes? No?
Yeah, we have. I was here Tuesday last week.
Oh, nice to see you then, Chip, again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Robert F., my main man in New Zealand. Yeah.
Hi, Paul.
Tariq or Tarek. All I know is, I don't know his name, but I know where he's from. Dover, New Jersey. Richard, Simon. Nice to see you, Simon. Don't be a stranger anymore. We got Glenda O'Driscoll, John K. She heard a dog. We got, Amy. Hey, I think that's her. No, Ariane. Nice to see Ariane. We got, there's Tricia. There's Tricia. She got up for the goodbyes. Nice to see you, Tricia. Tommy. Nico. Nice to see you there, my friend.
Hi,
We
Paul.
got Z. Chris. Tyler. Kenneth from good old, he's in Vancouver now. Stefan on having never left. Oh, there she goes. See, I'm so happy when she leaves, the dog. We got Chris B. Chris B, I know Chris B. Where are you located now, Chris?
I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, Portland. Nice to see you. That's nice. Pleasure to see you again. Tyler E. Nice to meet you, Tyler. We got Philippe from Brisbane. Looking forward to seeing you sometime, Philip, when I get back to Australia.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, mate.
Yeah, we'll be down in Byron again, hopefully. We got Mike, we got Gary C., the man from the corner. We got Natalie. Natalie, thanks again for that lovely, the chocolate. I like that. Yeah, they were both good. All right, Raven. Raven is from British Columbia. Ben Clark. Ben Clark has gotten somewhat up. Nice to see you, Ben. Roman, as always. Sonia, always, yes. Oh, we got Walter. Walter has just gone to numbers again.
An accident.
Chris is against that small little, very thin door up there. Oh, Verena, she's not from Netherlands. She's from Germany. Phil from Sydney. Nice to see you, Phil. I hope I see you guys in Sydney when I go back there. John Luna from Huntington, Long Island. Matthew, nice to see you, Matthew, again. David W. Sundara, there he is, Jack somewhere. Ann, thank you so much, Ann, for that. I'm wondering, I got 3 decals to put on something. We got Lori, nice to see you, Lori. Joseph C., always a pleasure. Ben, yes. Malcolm, wait, is Malcolm, your hair got really long. Let me see. Oh no, this is Marianne. Marion, nice to see you, Marion. I need glasses now. Nina, not Tina, not Mina, but Nina. Yoo-hoo. Mickey, did a great job, Mickey, serving the recovery meeting. Let's see, we got, James from New Zealand, Stacy from LA. I'll be coming down there, honey, hopefully. I'll let you know, yeah. Christopher W., there he is. We got Johannes, David W., we got Catherine, Navdeep, Lorraine and Mark, John W. from outside of Melbourne. David, yeah. Well, listen, everyone, such a pleasure to spend time with you guys. There is no time. And I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Very much.
Thank you.